I shouldn't say it happens often, but it happens. It's more likely to happen in a market like this where home prices are slowly declining. Now, I personally think we're coming to the bottom of that decline. Like, I think we're going to see home prices start to increase in value again. Like I said, going into end of July, early August, and then going into the winter. Like, I have no doubt that home prices are going to come back up. There's no guarantee of that, but I think this is the point in the next, say, 3 to 4 weeks is when we would see something like this happen.
You're listening to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast with your hosts, Paul Stevenson, David Warren, and Greg Campbell. Let's see what's going on in the world of real estate today.
We are back. It's the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast. My name is Paul Stevenson. I am one of the owners and a mortgage agent at Referral Mortgages, and I'm joined by David Warren. He's my business partner, also an owner at Referral Mortgages and a mortgage agent. And typically, we have the magician, the wizard, Greg Campbell with us. Greg is touring. He's on a tour. Okay. He's on a tour. He's going for a little drive today, doing a little vacation avec la famille. So Greg will not be with us today, but Greg is the managing director and a realtor at the Agency Ottawa. David, how was the weekend? How are we doing this morning? The coffee's still settling in my veins here.
Yeah, good. Weather turned out being pretty decent for.
Oh yeah.
Canada Day. It was little hairy there, but but actually turned out to be a beautiful day. So yeah, overall not a bad weekend. Got up to the cottage for a night. It was good. No complaints.
Yeah, we were quite lucky actually this weekend with it's like pretty much the perfect. This is when people come to Ottawa and they're like, wow, I could really live here. And then winter hits and they decide it's a big mistake. I actually poked around downtown for not on Canada Day, but on over the weekend. Just went to Major Hill Park and kind of chilled out there for a bit, and it was great. Lots of people out, lots of tourists it seemed, and lots of smiling faces. Okay, it was great. It was nice. Typically, we've been kind of blasted with a variety of crap lately as far as weather goes, like freezing one day and pouring rain, and then so it's nice to have a couple back to back.
There's a little interest for Canada Day. They're not having the festivities downtown, moving it to LeBreton and Zibi.
Yeah. Did you hear anyone that was down there that kind of experienced that?
Just a couple people, but it was definitely very tame in comparison. I think people still not sure what was going on in the move. I know there was some protests. So there was a lot of road closures and issues to do with that. So either way, I think they used the Blues Fest stage setup and whatnot down in LeBreton. So because that starts up, I think Blues Fest starts up this week.
Yes, that's right.
As well.
Wow.
So,
I actually forgot about that. Might have to see if I can scrounge up some tickets. There's been a lot of stuff going on. I mean, Ottawa's it's the festival city, We always got something going on, but this is the time. Next 2 months, it seems all the music festivals and the food festivals and everything are kind of coming down. So if you're thinking about coming to Ottawa and you don't live here, now's the time. Just don't try to buy in Ottawa right now. That's actually, it might not be a bad time. We actually, the last few episodes we've done, we've kind of been talking about the current state of the market and the shift and rates going up and kind of everything that's happening. And we've gotten some interesting comments with predictions for what they think is going to happen in the coming few months. So we had one, David, I don't know if you've seen this one yet. So this was talking about the Ottawas. Is it a buyer's market? And David Johnston responded or kind of left a comment saying, I think 2 to 3 years, we're going to see another doubling of detached prices. The demand for housing is astonishing. When interest rates go back down in 6 months, so he's thinking January, buyers are going to pile into the market like never before. There is uncertainty currently, but the rental market is hot, capital HOTTT right now. As soon as rates fall and homes start to get hot again, all of those people will be buyers giving up everything to be in a home. How accurate do you think that is, David?
I think part of it's accurate. I think the rental market is going to get hotter as interest rates rise. Less investors are buying, and really with the cost of homes in Ottawa and certain markets like GTA and whatnot, it's a higher cost for carrying those properties. So what's going to end up happening? They're going to have to charge higher rents, or you just having less investors in the market. So there's less availability of rentals out there. I do know that is becoming already an issue of the rental market, and those buyers that would have been moving out of mom and dad's into a home or what have you, buying their first home or even partnering up with a friend and buying, that's not happening. They're renting instead. And so it's kind of scared people away. I do think that as interest rates come back down to earth, that the demand will pick right back up because all those people aren't going away. We've talked about it before. Canadians have a mentality of home ownership and wanting to own and really entrenched and ingrained in our fabric DNA in Canada of owning your home. And I think all those people and then combine that with immigration. So I think that demand will come back. I don't think it's going to be I don't think interest rates are going to plummet in 6 months. We're going to have another rate increase next week by the Bank of Canada. For prime, it's going to take some time for inflation to get under control, and they're not going to start dropping, bringing prime back down unless until things settle. And I don't think it'll be 6 months, but you never know. I think it'll be in the mid to latter 2023 that rates start coming back down.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. I've actually seen the last week. I've seen a few, it feels like it's started to pick up a little bit with purchases. I think also, we see this every summer. I was just looking at past episodes, and it seems every summer we talk about kind of the slowdown, the lull at the beginning of summer, and then as people kind of get back from the cottage and kind of get settled again, late July, August start to pick up again. I was talking about this actually this weekend with a friend of mine about home ownership being a type of investment as well. And, looking at, we were talking about having a mortgage and the difference between, people that want to pay off their mortgage rapidly to be mortgage free, and then other people that want to just basically use it as kind of like a smart debt / investment. And I was just saying, for myself, and I know you have a similar mindset, Dave, where, I try not to get ever too married to a single property. Try to take the emotion out of it. As much as it is a home, it also is an investment facility as well, right? And especially in Ottawa, when you're seeing gains of anywhere from 3 to 15% a year, having that let's say a 23-year mortgage. In my head, I'm never thinking, in 23 years I'm going to be mortgage free. It's more so in 10 years. The appreciation, let's say, the home values in price and my mortgage is down. Well, now I actually have all this equity built up where maybe I can buy something cash, or I can, I can buy something where I am going to be mortgage free, right? I'm not seeing it as kind of like a 25-year plan or 23-year plan. So I just, I don't know. I was just talking about interest rates. And I just feel like so long as the homes are appreciating higher than what the rates are at, which has been happening for many years, right? We're seeing interest rates at 2% and homes appreciating by 3 to 5%. It's a good debt to have, essentially. You're making money by just owning that home, obviously. But people talk about this downshift and what's going to happen. The market's going to crash. I'd call it it's more of a correction than a crash, right? That we're seeing right now. Homes aren't going down 50%. Everything is kind of stabilizing. And I think it's really important to think of it. You want to think of it long term, but also think of it as a form of investment. All that money that you're putting aside every month is not going to the abyss. It's going essentially into your own pocket down the road, with interest, right? With appreciation.
Yeah. And we've talked about it as well. And people can just look up and Google house price indexes in Ottawa. And you'll get a historical trend of what price gains have been. And no matter what the interest rates have done, and you can go back, 50, 60 years, and you'll see that we have double-digit gains in Ottawa, constant gains, regardless of where the interest rates were. And you can talk to, whomever may be, back in the, I just pulled up the chart just now, as I said that. People say that in the 60s, their rates were 20%. Well, I'm looking at it right now. In 68 and 69, home price in Ottawa grew 19.8%, 374. 10, 25, 21%. You're getting these gains, 83 and 84, 21 and 18%. So regardless of where, you hear horror story, you hear from your parents like, oh, well, when I had a mortgage, it was, 12%, 20%. The first, I think it was, forget who it was last week, saying that their first mortgage they had was basically a Visa rate. It was 19.5%. And, and you kind of think of that like, oh, well, it was, lower home prices, sure. But also incomes were substantially lower and there was still double digit gains. I think right now we're seeing the market just kind of slow down. It's not, like you said, there's not going to be a big plummet or anything like that. There's still demand. We still have people have qualified to be able to pay for that mortgage at the rates of what they're paying now and even higher rates. It's just right now fear. Everything on the news is kind of, again, fear mongering a bit. And, but really as the market, right now you get a lull in the beginning of summer, regardless. That's just prototypical of the market. And then it picks back up. I think people are just going to adjust to what the new interest rates are. And again, just buy it what their budget can allow them to.
Yeah. And I think right now with the current market, I think it's a massive buying opportunity. We've had so many people that have been, waiting for the market to correct itself or waiting on the sidelines to maybe get into the market. Well, now is really actually an amazing time. Maybe if you're selling your place, you're going to get slightly less, but you're also going to be getting that next home for slightly less, right? So it's all going to balance out. In the future, rates might come down and your home value might go up. So maybe you have a bit more to sell your place for, but then you're going to be paying maybe an extra 150 grand for that home that you do want. So there are a lot of opportunities out there right now. There's a lot of homes on the market. There's a lot of people that have to sell, right? So there is a lot of really good opportunities out there. It's like anything, the market itself, the home real estate market is like any other, index or I was just going to say a universal market, whether it be gold or the S&P 500 or whatever it is. It's going to be cyclical. It's going to go up and down. This is a down, and this is a time to buy. Right? This is a very good opportunity if you're looking to it as an investment. Now is a very good time where there's a lot of opportunities out there where you can get essentially something that in 5 years is going to appreciate, 10 years is going to appreciate, and you're getting it at a discounted price. We're not gonna see home prices. We're not gonna see $1 million home today be worth 500,000 in 5 years from now.
No.
I just see that as being absolutely impossible. So that $1 million home that's on sale for $899 right now is going to be back in $1 million in a year or two. So there are a lot of good opportunities right now.
I think people that were waiting on the sidelines to get in the market to buy, waiting for more inventory, prices to maybe come down or bidding wars to just go not to be happening. Really my question to those people is, what did you think was going to happen? That a rush of people would be listing their house and moving out of Ottawa, Ottawa would not see any migration to the city. Because really you need there's some sort of external factor you need in order for that to happen, for there to be magically more properties coming on the market, instantly more supply, demand to go away. So right now you're seeing the external factors, interest rates going up. That's it. Those buyers are still there. They're just staying at their house. Everyone's sitting at the gate. They're renting longer.
They're all at the gate waiting.
They're waiting. So if you're thinking about buying, yes, is it a little bit of a hit and kind of gets in your mind a little bit of locking in an interest rate in the 4s or in the 5s on a fixed or a variable where Bank of Canada is going to be increasing prime? Does it play with your psychology a little bit on that regard when that interest rates were at 2% less than a year ago? Sure. However, if you don't believe that the demand has gone anywhere, if you believe that the home prices or home values in Ottawa are going to continue the gains like they've been making since this index goes back 1956. If you believe that the Ottawa housing prices are going to continue going up like they have since 56, where there's only been 4 down years, and by down, the highest down being negative 2.9%, then why not get into a property now when there isn't the competition, when you can see more properties, you can put an offer in with conditions. You can get your home inspector in, you can get your financing in order, appraisal, things like that. You can have those conditions included where you're not competing with a ton of other people. And if you're of the belief that migration in Ottawa and the city is going to continue to grow, then why not get in now and, maybe it dips 2%, your house price, or 4%, but getting in now is better than waiting for when the market picks up and now you're competing with all the others, because you're going to have those same issues or same, mental restraints that you had 9 months ago are still going to be there.
Yeah, stay away from the headlines, stay away from the water cooler, just because I think that's it. People are like, well, I'm thinking about selling, right? To maybe a friend, and then it's someone who's not in the market, and just doesn't work in the industry, and kind of like, well, I don't know. Have you heard about this? And it's all kind of doom and gloom, right? That everyone is hearing. So again, like you said, you're talking about that fear mongering. Like, I just think that, I think a lot of those things that were brought into play were to try and slow the market. And a lot of that is, like you said, it's the psychology of the buyer and the seller of, well, I just don't want to, I'm just going to take a step back for a little while. So everyone is just, there's like this pool, everyone's just sitting around the side waiting to jump in, right? And the water temperature hasn't changed. It's still hot, it's still hot. It's just people aren't jumping in. So
the reason why a stock market gets into a bear or a bull territory, dropping or increasing, rising market, is it's all psychology of the investor. Same as in the housing market. People believe that the market's going to crash or go down, so people start pulling their money out of the market. The values of those companies haven't changed. Their sales haven't changed. It's strictly psychology, and so it's the exact same. Like you said, the housing is a commodity. It's just another type of investment, and psychology plays into it. Why people get emotionally attached to a house, why people get into bidding wars and drive up the price or what have you. So if you are thinking about it, or you were thinking about buying, and right now you're on the sidelines because you're just looking at interest rates, get into something short term. Then do a 2-year fixed, or get into a variable where you can break any time, or you can lock into a fixed when rates come back down, or what have you. Think of it as a short-term pain for long-term gain, and stay that course, really.
That's the advice I've been giving. Of the conversations I've had in the last couple of weeks have all been, 2 max 3-year terms for fixed and or variable. And even on variable, you're like, I was talking to a client last week, mortgage was, $500K roughly, 400 to 500K. And he was asking about the penalty, what would my penalty look like for variable? So I kind of told him about the 3 months interest and what that would equate to in today's dollars. And he was like, oh my gosh, that's like, he was expecting tens of thousands, So when it's only 1,000 or 2, it makes it a lot easier when rates come down again for the fixed to just break your variable, lock into something longer term, and then you're still getting into the home at a very reasonable price. Go ahead.
You first.
No, I was good. Well, I was just going to talk about what can happen in this sort of shifting market. But if you wanted to close out this topic.
No. I was actually going to pivot to that as well. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
When we were on the topic of offers and conditions.
I read this morning a headline says, speaking of headlines, how falling home prices are leading to growing appraisal gaps. So this is a question we are asked quite often, actually, like, what happens if my appraisal comes in light? So, hypothetically, someone pays $615,000 for a home 2 months ago, and now the lender wants an appraisal, and homes on the street are now selling for $525,000, $550,000. What happens to that client? So I'll just read the first paragraph here, Dave, and then we can kind of touch on this quickly. So it says, when national home prices are on the decline, some home buyers are seeing appraisals come in lower than their purchase price, and that's leaving many scrambling to come up with ways to close the gap. Jim Tualukas, president of Verico Advanced Mortgage Services, knows at least one of them. A client came to him. This happens often. Client came to him after buying a home through another broker in February for 1.02. The original broker didn't do the appraisal quickly, and the close is set for mid-July. The recent appraisal came back at just $830,000. So they're short $190,000. So basically, Dave, I should correct myself. I shouldn't say it happens often, but it happens. It's more likely to happen in a market like this where home prices are slowly declining. Now, I personally think we're coming to the bottom of that decline. Like, I think we're going to see home prices start to increase in value again. Like I said, going into end of July, early August, and then going into the winter, like, I have no doubt that home prices are going to come back up. There's no guarantee of that, but I think this is the point in the next, say, 3 to 4 weeks is when we would see something like this happening.
Yeah, it's really, for anyone, whether you're a home buyer, if you're a realtor, a mortgage agent, whatever it may be, Appraisals play into your financing very regularly. Unless you're buying cash, you'll more than likely need an appraisal. If you're buying and it's insured with CMHC, Sagen, Canada Guarantee, they will try to auto appraise it. If they can't, they will order an appraisal. Anything where you're putting 20% down or more, an appraisal is going to be needed. If it's over $1 million, an appraisal will be needed. If it's a private sale, an appraisal is going to be needed. So for any of these, the banks will only ever lend on the lower of the purchase price or the appraised value. So you can pay $1 million, but if the appraisal comes back at 830, they'll only lend at 830. So really what you want to be doing for all of those categories of buyers, mortgage agents, realtors, is find out as quickly as possible if an appraisal is going to be needed and order it immediately. That's literally leaving it on your desk for 2 months, or even if you've closings not for 4 months, 5 months, don't wait until that last month. Things aren't, going to improve. Order it immediately. Otherwise, what happens is you're having to come up with that difference. So in this case, that couple is now having to go scrambling to their parents and family to scrounge up the $190,000 they need to close on that house, because they'll only get financing based on that 830, but they need to come up with that difference out of pocket between that 830 and 102. And for some of you listening might say like, well, then I'm just going to walk away from the purchase and I'm not going to close on that. Well, you can, but you'll get sued. And what you'll get sued for is not just your deposit, but when they go to resell, put that house back on the market, whatever it sells for, that difference, that loss, you'll be on the hook for. So not only will you not have a house, that house, you won't even own that property. You'll be on the hook for that difference. So if that only sells for 800 and you had a 1.02, you're on the hook for that difference. And potentially, I've heard of it being, the difference of carrying costs for that property for the seller, potential moving costs. If they'd bought another place, like that snowball effect. Yeah. So, it's not something where you can just, the heck with it. It's only 10 grand deposit. I'll walk away and, not close on it. There are other repercussions. So again, really don't want to get into that situation. If you're buying that property, you've likely looked at comparables. There's other properties around that are driving that reasoning for you putting in that offer at that purchase price. And so order that appraisal right off the bat. That's literally the only thing you can do. Especially in where we're, things are leveling out or even, or dipping a little bit. If values aren't going up, then you're going to want, then you're going to be in trouble ordering it too late, or potentially in trouble.
Yes. Well said, David. Well said. Yeah, no, I've had one recently that came in light. It was a private sale though, so that was a bit different because there was no realtors involved to kind of give them like a true picture of where the market was. It was more so, this is what I think it's worth. Well, I agree to that, and they got into the agreement, and then the appraisal did come in light. So we're working around that now, but that's the only one I've seen, to be honest, in the last couple of years. So. And that was right. They entered into the agreement in February, March, and that was right, when things kind of took a shift. So kind of be expected. And also, when you think about it, those higher price points, even a 5 or 10% difference in value, those are big numbers that you're talking about as far as the delta that comes up and that they need to come up with. Not as, I guess it's all relative, right? If you're buying a $500 place, $500,000 place, and it goes down 25 grand. That's still, you still have to come up with that 25 grand, but it seems like it has much more of an impact when it's, a $1.5 million place and it comes in $1 million light. Well, it's a bit of a different story, but again, I guess it's all relative to the buyers.
Yeah. The likelihood of crowdfunding from your family, 20 grand is a little easier than a few $100,000.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
But the last thing you want to do is be having to go through that crowdfunding situation or setting up a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
But so really that's, something to really be cognizant of. But overall, that should just play into it. So when you are looking or buying, really you have that opportunity where you could put in your conditions on that offer, because it's not a multiple offer situation. You could put in a condition of financing, and part of that is giving you time for an appraisal. And so when you have that conditional offer, you can order the appraisal immediately. Like your bank or mortgage professional should be able to tell you off the hop whether there's a high likelihood of needing an appraisal. So let's I know we've kind of gone through it in the past of appraisals and when it was multiple offers and people going over ask and things like that sometimes it was the opposite. You were kind of waiting. Maybe you're waiting a couple months to let all the other comparables catch up. Mm-hmm. But this is kind of the opposite. And that's where working with a professional that knows what they're doing, has that experience in the marketplace will know what that timing looks like. And it seems like it's something so inconsequential or so minor as an appraisal that it's like, oh, well, I bought it for this. Obviously they'll appraise at that. And to Paul's case in point of a private, where they, that's why on every private sale, an appraisal is needed because mm-hmm. people don't have that data or don't look up on, do the appropriate research to determine value and can come in and be issues. But in a case like that, doesn't really matter on timing when you do the appraisal, because likelihood is that it's been the original agreed upon price was off anyways. So,
yeah.
But I know Greg has been, I know you said he's on the road right now to PEI. He will be back next week. So it'll be interesting to hear from him, kind of the 2 week numbers from him, yeah, as far as the shift in the market in Ottawa and what he's seeing from the, any sort of prices or sales transaction numbers. But
yeah, he said he's on his way to Quebec City, I believe. Shout out to QC, and then he's they're ending up in PEI shortly. But I know he said, yeah, he's looking forward to being on next week from the East Coast and holding it down out there. So I think his family is from, I believe his mom or dad are both from the East Coast. He might have even been born there. Who knows? We'll get the full scoop, but there's definitely some East Coast connection somewhere in the Campbell genes. Should we slide into the mood boost, David?
Let's do it.
We survived without Gregory. It's good. Let's see here. I'll throw out a few. I'm not vouching for any of these, but they are what they are. What can I say? Number one, what genre are national anthems? Country. Okay, country. What game does the Sky? What game does the Sky love to play?
Mm-hmm.
Twister.
Oh, wow.
Twister.
Okay.
Number three, what's a dog's favorite city? New Yorkie. And last but not least, let me see if there's one better. No, this is the one. What is a golfer's worst nightmare? The bogeyman. The bogeyman.
Started off well.
Thank you to everyone for listening. As always, if you don't mind, subscribing, reviewing, commenting, liking. Comments are great. I actually like hearing people's feedback, and obviously Bicheron is. We're just gonna have to give him a shout out now. It's like, was it not Jimmy Kimmel? Who was the one that always used to thank Matt Damon for coming to the show?
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel.
Thanks to Bicheron for being here. Shout out to North Brew as well, northbrew.ca. If you put in the promo code podcast, you're going to get 20% off your order. Shout out to Referral Mortgages, all of our amazing agents, all of our amazing operations team. Shout out to the agency. Shout out to the Ontario Mortgage Academy. And shout out to all the listeners for tuning in every week. It's always good to get feedback. I know summertime, people are chilling at the cottage, they're relaxing, they're outside, going for walks. Throw us in your headphones. Let us just reach into that cerebellum and drift away. Dave's already gone. Dave's checked out. Thank you, everyone. We'll be back next week. Greg will be in from PEI, and we love doing this. We'll be back. Thanks for listening. Deuces.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe because we'd really like that.